Alrighty. Okay, well, out on the table here in front of me, I have everything from the past 3 days of shopping. For us, it was just one day, but it was a really long video, so I split it up into 3 separate days for you guys. But Sue and I visited an antique mall in Chambersburg called Black Rose, and we found lots of treasures. Now, my total spend there was $304, which seems like an awful lot, but I was looking over my receipt, and there were only about 4 items that I spent more than $12 on. So think of it as most of these items were under $12. That's pretty good. I mean, some of the thrift stores that we go to that are a little on the high end, this is kind of the prices that we see there. So I felt pretty good about it. I felt pretty good about the prices. But anyway, we're gonna go over everything right now and talk about how much I can expect to get for it on eBay. Unfortunately, as these antique shops do, they take the tags and the stickers, so I can't tell you exactly what I spent on each item. But as I just told you, my total spend was $304. However, I should say, we are subtracting this bowl because we are keeping it. So that was $9, and we are also subtracting the giant bittersweet vase, because you guys know I collect swung glass, so we're taking that off as well. So our total spend was actually $260, not $304. So I may have exaggerated when I said $304. Our total spend was $260. So let's go over everything real quick and talk about it. We are going to begin front and center with our parrot. Now this parrot right here is a cockatoo. It is a pink cockatoo, and there is a very specific name for a pink cockatoo, and I cannot think of it. And I should know it. I should know what it is. It starts with a G, I think. But anyway, it is a pink cockatoo, and it is ceramic. It is a figurine, and it's kind of on the larger scale. So for this piece, I would expect probably to get $25 to $35 because of its size and because of the subject, which is parrots. Parrots just for some reason do really well, and so I'm expecting to do pretty well on this piece. So there you have the parrot. We also have the puppy dog, the cute little Scotty. Now he caught my eye right away because he's one I've never seen before. You guys know I see a lot of puppy figurines, and I see a lot of planters, and I just never seen this one before. And I thought, oh my gosh, he's so cute with his little dot eyes. I absolutely loved him. Now when I did pick him up off the shelf, he had a little friend with him, and a lot of people suggested that they were a pair, and they were not. The second one was actually a planter, and I've bought and sold the planter before, and so I wasn't really all that interested because I'd seen it before, and this was the piece where I was like, I've never seen that before, I have to have it. So the puppy right here, I would expect probably to get 18 to 24 for him, again, because of his size. The taller they are, the more I usually expect to get for them, whereas the smaller they are. I mean, it all comes down to quality as well, but in general, I would expect to get 18 to 24 for him. Oh, goodness. Let's see, what else do we have? We can talk about this one. We'll just get through the stuff that's right in front of me. We've got this planter right here. Now, this looks familiar, I'm sure. We had one recently. Andrew had purchased it at the flea market one morning when I was not there, and he brought it home. It actually reminded me of the Grindley and Chic pottery hounds, but when I did a little bit of digging, I found out that it's actually attributed to Shawnee, which is pretty cool. So I guess Shawnee was also making these hound dogs. It looks like a little girl may have gotten a hold of some nail polish and decided to update this puppy because he now has spots, and he's got a little purple nose and blue eyes. And I don't believe that that was actually the original design. I think he was updated and modified, but I'm selling him as is, and with the disclaimer that it would probably just come off with some acetone or alcohol. Bring him back to the original glaze. For that piece right there, I would expect probably to get 15 to 20 because he's had a makeover. If he hadn't had the makeover, I might expect a little bit more. But that makeover, for real. We're gonna move on to our Eldritch Piggy. You guys know I've got a thing for Eldritch pottery, and it all started with a jack-o'-lantern that we bought at the thrift store that shall not be named. We purchased a pottery jack-o'-lantern from that thrift store and ended up selling it for $115, I think. It was $100 and something, and it was just so thrilling and exciting because I'd never heard of Eldritch pottery before. And now I look for it everywhere I go, and I'm really excited when I find it. And so we've found a couple pieces since then because we're actively searching for it. And I saw this piggy and I thought, oh my gosh, that has to be Eldritch. And I turned it over and it's marked on the bottom with the date 1989. And it's just a little piggy. And these piggies typically sell for $18 to $25. I will tell you, I do recall paying $18.95 for this piggy. So if I break even, I will be happy. But hopefully I make a little bit more than breaking even. Just a little would be nice. But I do believe there's one other one up for sale right now that is at auction, and that one has no bids. So we'll see how we do on that. But I have a thing for Eldritch pottery now. Not really for my own collection because I feel like it's kind of like a farmhouse kind of style. And as you guys know, my style is more mid-century, boho, that sort of style. So it wouldn't really blend with my style, but I can definitely appreciate it. So, all right, moving on. We bought these. A little creamer and sugar set. And they're just this really nice pale yellow. They do have crazing and some discoloration. You guys know that doesn't really bother me. Some people just hate it. It really depends on the person. For me, I like crazing. But these pieces right here are not marked. I suspect they are made in Japan. And the reason I suspect that is the weight of them. There's just something about it that I just, anyway, for those pieces right there, I would expect 15 to 20 for the creamer and sugar. Another piece we grabbed was this right here. Now, I've seen a couple of these recently. We actually purchased one. We purchased a green matte version of this, and it was made by Brush McCoy. Now, the issue with this piece is Burley Winter is another company that made one almost identical to this. Now, one of my viewers did chime in on the comments in the last video saying, well, that's a Burley Winter piece and not a Brush McCoy piece. And honestly, it's possible that I could be wrong. So I responded and I said, are you sure? They haven't responded yet. There are subtle differences between them, but I'm not knowledgeable enough in the differences to say, okay, that's definitely a difference. But they're exactly the same shape as far as I'm concerned. They have these little ears on them and they're the arts and crafts style. But yeah, so I guess I'll wait to hear back from that viewer, but whether it's made by Brush McCoy or Burley Winter, I would expect this to probably sell between $25 and $35. That's typically what they go for. And this one I may get a little bit less because it does have a chip around the rim, but we only paid $7 for it. I do recall only paying $7. I think it was 20% off even, so it was even less than that. So I think we made a good deal regardless of anything. Regardless, we made a good deal. So feeling good about that piece as well. Now, what else do we have? Let's see. I don't want to get started on salt and pepper shakers yet because I feel like we'll just get sucked into that conversation. Let's talk about this. I really liked this, and I don't necessarily know if it's modern or if it's old. It kind of struck me as being Fenton. I know it's not, but it's kind of got, it has iridescence. It's like this pearl iridescence, and it's got pine cones on it. I don't actually have any tea lights in the house. If I did, I would definitely see what it looks like illuminated. I bet it's really pretty. but I just thought it was a nice little votive candle holder. For this piece, I would expect to get 18 to 24 for that, because it's a really nice hand-painted piece. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any markings, so I'm not really sure who makes it or where it comes from. We've got this piece over here. Now this piece is made in Japan. It's got a kind of blue-green luster around the edge, and it's got hand-painted flowers in the center and this nice little handle. This is more than likely a dessert tray or plate of some sort, and I mean, what more is there to say about it? For this piece, I would expect to get $20 to $25 for this. I'm just totally digging those flowers. I think they're really pretty. All right, this piece was very surprising. I could not believe the price on this piece. We paid $9 for this, and what was surprising about it is there was some Nippon there on the table that wasn't really all that outstanding. It was just kind of boring Nippon. It wasn't like anything that I'd be like, wow, look at this amazingness. It was just kind of bleh. And the Nippon was actually priced higher than this piece. I don't know if that's just my personal taste, but I was like, oh my gosh, because this piece for me is just phenomenal. And you guys know I do appreciate Nippon, but I couldn't believe that the other pieces were actually higher. So this piece right here is made in France. It is made by Bollinger and Company. And this piece typically sells for about $45. We are not going to be selling it. Sorry, I know a lot of you guys are probably like, oh, it's so pretty. We're not going to sell that. We're going to actually hold on to that for Christmas. You know, we got through Thanksgiving and our big feast with the Flow Blue, and now we're going to hold on to this, and we're going to use it for Christmas. So, yeah, I just absolutely love that piece. And it was actually hard to track down the maker. Like, there's not very many out there. I had a hard time. When I looked at Bollinger, all I got was silver and silver plate. So, it's like, okay, cool. All right, let's see what else. We've got this beautiful Murano ashtray. Oh, but before we get to that, we're gonna pause for this train, and I'll be right back. Okay, now as I was saying, we've got this really nice Murano ashtray. What I really liked about this was that it is black. It is black glass, and I mean, technically it's amethyst. If you hold it up to the light, you can just see around the very, very edges that it is a very deep, deep amethyst, but for all intents and purposes, it's black glass. And it has little flecks of silver all the way through it. And what I love about this piece is it just makes me think of the galaxy. I mean, that's what I thought of when I saw it, and so I just had to have it. I think that's a really nice piece, and it's one I've never seen before. Granted, there is scratching on the base where it sits because it's been it's been scratching for a very long time, and but it's in pretty good condition, and we didn't pay much for it. We paid less than $12 for it, I can tell you that. So for that piece, I would expect probably to get about $45 for that. Probably a bit more if I was to list it as a buy it now and let it sit and wait and wait and wait and wait. But I don't do that. I usually just put everything to auction and just let it go because we're moving volume here and we're not waiting and waiting and waiting. There's a few items up right now that we're waiting on, and I'm about ready to just throw them to auction. Anyway, so we've got this right here, who appears to be the Easter Bunny, with a nice little egg that he's carrying behind him, and it serves as a planter. I believe it's the Easter Bunny. It is not marked, however, it looks like there may have been a mark on the bottom that just got smudged. Probably a smudged mark. I'm gonna assume it's more than likely Japan. I just assume everything's Japan. It's safer that way. But this piece right here, I would expect probably to get 18 to 24 for this because it's a rabbit. and it's an Easter bunny. That's a good reason. I feel like maybe I need to go into more detail on why I think, so it's not just a generic dog or a generic cat, it's geared towards a specific holiday, and so I expect it would get a little bit more. And if I was to sell it around Easter, I would expect even more for it, but I'm not willing to hold on to it until Easter, so that's what I'm gonna expect to get for it. That's a better explanation, I guess. So we've got this little set right here. This is just a salt and pepper shaker set. These little bulb blooms sit inside of the carrier. This is kind of an interesting piece because both of the salt and pepper shakers are marked Japan, but the carrier itself is marked Occupied Japan. So I'm not really sure which it is. I'm assuming it's Occupied Japan and they just couldn't fit it on the bottom of the shakers. But this set right here, I would expect to get around $18 to $20 for this. The reason being is because it's a 3-piece set and it's made in Occupied Japan. Occupied Japan stuff tends to get a little bit more than just your straight up Japan stuff. A couple years ago, Occupied Japan was a lot more desirable, but that desirability has come down a little bit, so there's still a little bit more desirable, but not a whole lot. So these pieces right here, we have 2 of them, salt and pepper shakers. These are Chicken of the Sea. They are advertising pieces, and I believe they're for tuna. Chicken of the Sea, that makes sense, right? These will typically sell for $18 to $20. I've had them before. And of course, these ones don't have any stoppers, so I don't know if that's going to affect the value on these. But the last set we actually had 2 sets. And so we had 2 yellow and 2 blue, and we thought that the blue went together and the yellow went together. And I didn't realize that they are mismatched. So the set is blue and yellow. 2 separate sets. So that's something to keep in mind if you ever get like a whole bunch of them. They are blue and yellow that go together. It's not blue and blue or yellow and yellow. So I got these little foxes, and you guys know I collect foxes, and I'm kind of obsessed with foxes. So I am tempted to keep these. However, I am not, because I have no use for salt and pepper shakers. We use the grinders, and so I feel like they would just sit around and collect dust. So unfortunately, I'm going to sell. I mean, fortunately, unfortunately, I'm going to sell these. But they are little foxes, and they're just very dapperly dressed. It looks like this guy's got a top hat and a cane, and she's got her umbrella. Very fancy. This set right here, I would expect to get about $18 for, because they are figural. The figural critter ones tend to get a little bit higher than just your standard boring ones. I don't really have any boring ones because I don't buy boring ones, so I don't really have any examples of those. These little guys were fun because they're just chubby little critters. Now, I could not figure out if these were dogs or gerbils. They have spots on them like they're puppies, but they have really chubby cheeks, like they've got a bunch of like foods stored in there. So I'm not sure if these are gerbils or dogs. I don't know. But they are souvenir pieces, and this is Boblo Island, Canada. I don't know where that is. I've never been there. These little stickers though, you can take off. I mean, I feel like they should stay because that's how they were originally intended, but if somebody was to buy these and not want those little stickers, there is a way to remove them, because I've bought them before and there's just a little bit of the sticker left. So I do know that they can be removed. But for these little guys, I would expect probably to get 12 to 15 for, because they're not as fantastic as the foxes. We'll talk about these. Now these are great. These birds. And there are some condition issues clearly on the heads. There's some paint chipping. Fortunately, it's not, oh, I take that back. This one actually has a chippy. But what I like about these and what I didn't realize when I bought them is I just thought, oh, birds, love birds, gotta have them. What I didn't realize was when you shake them, they squeak. So that's like a fun thing. They are marked in Narco, Japan, and so they're very interesting and unique. I've never seen them before, and I liked them. For these guys, I would expect probably to get, I want to say around $18. I would expect to get more if we didn't have the condition issues with the chipping, but I think that's going to affect the value of these, even with the cool squeakers. So we got those. We've got this little guy. Now in the video I said that this was made by a particular company. I tried researching to find the name of that company. The last time I bought one, I was able to identify the company. This time around, I could not find the name of that company that makes it, and I was pretty bummed about it too. I'm like, I know there's a specific company that makes these, and I couldn't find it. But this little owl is carved. He's got inset eyes. I find these a lot. Now, the last time I purchased one and I was doing research on it, there was a really large version of this, and it sold for pretty good money. The smaller ones, you know, I would expect probably to get 15 to 20 for this, but the really large ones, the big pieces with the inset eyes and the owl, those ones sell a lot better. And the last one we had, it was a moon with an owl. It was really neat. I liked that one a lot. But that was a while ago. So let's continue. Do we have anything more on this side of the table? Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about this lamp. This lamp. So I spotted this lamp and I was totally digging it. I've kind of steered clear of lamps a lot recently. For a few reasons. First of all, I have a lot of them. Second of all, the price of shipping lamps has gone up. I've called myself the crazy lamp lady for a while. And when I first started selling lamps, I could sell a lamp and ship it for about $25. And buyers would be willing to pay $25 to ship a lamp. Unfortunately, now with the rising cost of the postal service, it's harder and more difficult to ship lamps. So if I do buy a lamp for resale, I have to make sure that it's totally worth it, and it has to be a very valuable lamp, or one that I just can't live without. Like that one over there. I don't know, maybe that's a really valuable lamp, I don't know. But there was something about that lamp that just spoke to me, so I had to have it. And because it's thin and it's not too tall, it's not going to cost too much to ship, versus the ones that are very, you know, wide and fragile and tall. And that, you know, you guys may remember the shell lamps that I got like forever ago. Those actually cost $125 to ship. They cost $125 to ship, and the buyer paid the shipping on that. And it was insane. And it kind of like, you know, it sucks because I do love lamps and I love selling and buying lamps, but it's harder and harder to sell lamps. Enough about that though. For this lamp right here, a lot of you had commented that it would be considered postmodern, and I've heard of postmodern before, but I never really like looked into postmodern style. It is really cool, by the way. I was like, this is the coolest thing. It's not really my style, but it was really neat. It was really neat to see. So I was just scrolling through postmodern. I think it is. I think it could definitely fit into a postmodern living room because of the bright colors and because of the shape and the checkered geometric design. Absolutely. It does have a lucite base, and these pieces I think are plastic. I don't believe that these are lucite, but the base is definitely lucite. And for this piece, I could not find any comps at all. I couldn't find any comps. This has got me like, I don't even know. But I would expect to get at least $45 for it. Hopefully, you know, more than that. The fact that I couldn't find another one like it makes me think that, oh, maybe it's something special. That's usually what I try to convince myself when I can't find another one like it. So anyway, I just thought this was a really neat lamp. not something you see every day. As for a date, I'm thinking probably 1980s. And that was probably the consensus of my viewers as well, about 1980s. But yeah, I really like that. I like that lamp a lot. Again, it wouldn't fit in with my decor, so out it must go. Okay, what else do we have here? We have our little bee friends. Now these are just adorable. I have 2 of them, and I paid $4 a piece for these. Ta-da. There's one with a sticker that says made in Japan, and the other does not have a sticker. This one does have a little spoon that is intended to look like a stinger. This one doesn't actually have a little groove for this stinger to stick out of. So I'm not really sure how that works. I don't know, I believe that one's a little honey pot, but I don't know what this one would be because it doesn't have a little stinger hole to stick the spoon out of. Those I would expect to sell for probably, I want to say $18 to $20. I found one pair that had sold on WorthPoint, and they had sold for, I think, $8. I'm not sure. But yeah, I would expect probably to get 18 to 20 for those. I love the big eyes. The big eyes get me every time, obviously. Big eyes. Of course, then you got this little guy, and he's like, no comment. Okay, so we also got these little cordials. Now the pattern is called buzzsaw, but I've also heard it called pinwheel. So I'm not sure if it's buzzsaw or pinwheel, or if they're interchangeable. Some of you EAPG people may have to chime in and let me know. But anyway, these are made by Summit Glass Company, and I can tell because at the bottom of the glasses there is a V in a circle, and the V is the mark of Summit Glass Company because Vogelsong, I think it's Vogelsong, is the owner of the company. So the marking for Summit Glass Company is a V in a circle. The glass is called Rubina because it has red at the top and fades into blue and green and kind of has this graduated color. Now, Summit Art Glass, I believe, was founded in the 70s or 80s. So it hasn't been around very long, but I do think that they got a lot of their molds from older companies. So it's possible that this was an older mold that they are using. But I really loved the glass. I loved the color of the glass, and I loved that the rim was red. And I love that graduated color. That's what drew me to these. And I thought they were neat. So for those, I would expect to get, how many do I have? 6. I would expect probably to get, I want to say $45 to $50 for those, for the set of 6. Let's see. Here we've got a rose bowl. Put it in for my face. So this pattern right here is called Feather and Fan. It is a blue opalescent, and what that means is it's got this more opaque blue at the top, and then it's just a clearer blue on the bottom. This piece right here, I can't think of who makes this. I think there are multiple companies who make this, and that's why I couldn't figure out who makes it. But again, the pattern is called Feather and Fan. This will sell for about, I want to say 18 to 24. And I paid $7.50 for this. And then we've got the cat. The cat in the hat. I bought this cookie jar, and again, I think I paid maybe $7 for this. It wasn't a whole lot. It's just a really interesting cookie jar. I mean, I don't know really what more to say about it. Now, they did have it marked at the booth as Japan, but I cannot find any indication on here that it is Japan, so I don't know if it's necessarily Japan or not. It's quite heavy, so I don't know. That kind of goes against my rules that, oh, if it's light, it's Japan. But it's quite possible. There are always exceptions to the rules. I really liked it. I liked that it was a kitty, that it's wearing a hat, and I don't know, it kind of reminded me of my great aunt used to paint cutouts of like scarecrows and stuff, and they always had this face, this smiling face, and I don't know, it reminded me of her artwork. So I bought it. But yeah, I would expect probably to get 35 for this. Now we've got these guys. 2 art glass vases. Now, when I first picked these up, I thought that they were matching. They are not matching. They are actually slightly different. They have different flowers on them. So I was going to sell them as a pair, but decided to split them up because they're not matching. They're different. And they've got a texture on them. For these, I believe I paid, say 15. I think I paid like 7 for the pair, and I could expect to get probably 15 each is what I'm thinking. And I want to say that they could be attributed to Bristol glass, but you know, Bristol glass is one of those where everybody just attributes these Victorian vases to Bristol glass. It's like, oh, look, a Victorian vase with flowers on it, that's Bristol glass. I don't think that's always the case, but it's completely possible. They could possibly be Bristol glass, but I cannot say for certain. The same goes for these. I really just, there was something about these. Now these were one of those pieces, like the lamp, I paid $28 for the lamp. These were another one of those where I paid more than $12. I paid $32 for these, or maybe 35. No, it was 32. They were 64, but they were half off, and so I paid 32 for the pair. I would expect to get 60 to 65 for them. So the booth actually had them marked at what I would expect to get for them, but they had 50% off. So I lucked out, because then I'm like, oh, I can make that money on them if I just sell them to the online market instead of the local market. So I grabbed them. I knew that somebody else would appreciate them and like them as much as I do. I just like the orange contrasted with the white. I think that's really what's doing it for me. But they're really nice. They're an enamel. What's funny though is one is a little bit shorter than the other because they are old and they are crude, and so they kind of just sit a little bit funny, but it doesn't bother me. I like it. Once you fill them with flowers, nobody will know. But those are matching, and I am selling those ones together. All right, well, looks like we've only got one item. No, we've got salt and pepper shake. Let's talk about these. Just little flower bud salt and pepper shakers. For these, I would expect probably to get 8 to 12 on those. They are not marked. Oh, they are. They're made in Japan. I take back everything I said. They're made in Japan. All right, yeah. Last but not least, we have this absolutely stunning Royal Hager vase. Now, I could not find any comps sold of this vase. However, there are quite a few listed, and the cheapest I could find any listed was $120, and they go all the way up to like 300 and something. I was not expecting it to be worth that much. If I was to put a price on it, I would probably say $65. Even with my love for Royal Hager, I feel like 120 is a bit optimistic. It's got really nice lines. It's a really nice shape. It's large. It's 16 inches. It's got its original sticker, but I don't feel like, I feel like 120 is high. I would expect to get probably around $65 to $75 for this. And I wouldn't really expect 120. I would love 120, but I wouldn't expect it. Okay, I've got one more piece out here on the table. That was everything from our shopping trip. That was, I'm pretty sure. Sometimes I forget stuff. I know, I'm just looking over to make sure, but I'm pretty sure we covered everything. That was everything from our shopping trip. But I've got one more item on the table that I wanted to share with you guys. A few weeks ago, Andrew and I went to the Emmitsburg Antique Mall. And in the wrap up, I told you guys that, you know, our total spend was such and such, but we got a few gifts for our friends. I have one of those pieces out here on the table that I wanted to show you guys because it's just really neat. And by the time you see this video, we will have already gifted it to him. So there's no way to really ruin the surprise. So, dun dun dun, ta-da! We purchased this for Eric at the Emmitsburg Antique Mall. And the reason we bought this for him is because he absolutely loves fishing. And so we thought that this would be a good way to show our appreciation for Eric. I just thought it was just epic. I absolutely love it. It is marked Sterling China. And it's just a giant, a really giant, enormous fish. And yeah, so I think he's gonna like it. It's a neat piece. But anyway, I want to show you guys that because tomorrow Drew is bringing it to the flea market to pass along to Eric. Of course, after he wraps it in princess wrapping paper, because I'm pretty sure that's the only wrapping paper we have in the house. So he's gonna wrap it nice and good in Juliet's leftover princess wrapping paper. It'll be fun. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is everything we got over the past 3 days, and I think we did pretty good. I know a lot of you are feeling like I'm spending a lot of money lately, and I am. I am spending a lot of money lately, but I'm buying a lot more volume and I'm buying a lot more quality. And I just feel like I kind of needed to up my game a little. I'm still buying, you know, the little things here and there, but I really wanted to, you know, mix in some quality with what we were doing and what we were buying and selling. So we're kind of just experimenting a little. I also have some exciting news, and I wish Andrew was here to share it with you guys. But he's upstairs. I thought maybe he'd hear me and like come down to talk, but it doesn't look like he's going to. We are going to be opening a retail location. I know we've talked about it before. The original place that we had in mind, we could not come to an agreement. I know we kind of shared a little bit about that with you guys. It was just back and forth, and we just couldn't come up with a good number. It was going to be $100,000 in renovations, and it was just not, we weren't able to compromise with the landlord because we will be renting. But we found a new space that's going to need quite a bit of TLC. So it's kind of a few months down the road. It's not going to be like an immediate like, hey guys, we're open. I'm letting you guys know because we've kind of been updating you along the way that we do have a location and we're going to be signing a lease on January 1st. But there is so much that needs to be done. Like, here everybody, take a sledgehammer and knock down these walls type of stuff that needs to get done. So it's going to be a while until we open for retail, but we're hoping to move our online operations into the building and get all of this stuff out of the house. So that will be amazing. Really looking forward to that because I want my house back. So that'll be fun. But I will keep you guys updated. I'll just keep giving you updates as I have them. I know a lot of you leave comments like, what's going on? What's going on? Unless I have new information to share, I probably won't be updating you guys. But we're on the right track, and I'm super excited, and I can't wait to show you guys what we're doing and bring you along. And it'll be fun. But anyway, I'm going to call it a night. I've got a video to edit. And tomorrow we are heading to Philly to look at birds. And I'll leave it at that. All right, I will see you guys tomorrow. Later. My family calls it my superpower. It's my ability to see value in things that other people might overlook.